which some of you have seen my typing skills. It's horrible. So it's a game changer for me. So, all right, let's get started here because this is going to be the final day of our bowling. So I want to make sure I get out of here. It's actually our party, and every week what they do with the league is they give you a pitcher of pop, a pizza, and then you get to bowl. You know, obviously in the league. So for their party, what they're giving is a pitcher of pop, pizza, and you get to bowl. Found that amusing. But anyway, it's all fun. So we're going to get started here. And let's see here. Where's my slides? So I know what is coming up here. Okay. So welcome to my class on mastering Safari's reading features. Basically, what we're going to be looking at is how you can use Safari to help you read. Now, before we get started, I did open this up to YouTube, so this is streaming live on YouTube. So I might have a few people out there. So welcome if you're new. So I'll just give a little bit of a blurb to me. For those of you who are on YouTube, I offer a website, Dan's Tutorials, or I have a website, Dan's Tutorials, and I offer videos on how to use the Mac, iPad, iPhone, Apple Watch, and Apple TV. And most of my classes are done through Zoom. I host classes and webinars, and they're done through Zoom. But every once in a while, I'll throw one out to YouTube to get my feet wet in YouTube. So welcome. If you like what you see here, take a look at Dan's Tutorials, not Dance, but Dan's Tutorials, and see what I have to offer there. So thank you for joining us. All right, that's a little bit about me. So what are we going to cover in here? Well, basically what we're going to do, I kind of thought about this. What we're going to be looking at is, my notes are hidden behind all my screens there. What we're going to be looking at is reader mode in Safari. We're also going to look at the reading list in Safari. I'm going to talk a little bit about private browsing mode in Safari and how that can help you with reading articles and things like that. It's a little bit of a cheat. Then we're going to look at how we can print an article on the Mac as a PDF. And when we do that, we can get the complete article. And when we're on the iPad and iPhone, if we take a screenshot, we can actually save the entire web page as a PDF. So I'm going to show you how you do that. So that's basically what we're going to cover, and depending on how much time we have left, I can open it up to some Q&A, question and answer, and we'll see where we go from there. I did create a handout for this webinar, or class. I'm going to put it in the Zoom chat for people that are on Zoom, and if you're not on Zoom, you can find this in the, where'd it go? You can find this on my website. This is something, whoops, it's not the chat, that's participants. Where's my chat? This is something that I'm going to be trying to do a little bit more. I come from a publishing background, as most of you know. And, I've worked with editors and things like that because I am not an editor. And this nice little tool that everyone is talking about has kind of opened the door for me to get in that a little bit. So I've been playing around with ChatGPT, and ChatGPT has helped me create a couple of different handouts. So check your chat in Zoom for that handout. You can kind of follow along with that. You can look at it at a later date. It also includes a link on one of the last pages to where you can watch this video. It'll open up in the browser, and then you can watch this video at a later date. So you can actually kind of keep this as something that you want to look at later on down the road. So look for those more often. Let me know what you think. I think that this one took me about 3 hours to put together, which normally would have taken me about 3 days, which is why I don't do that. So, all right. So let's, excuse me for the cough. Let's, sorry. Let's first talk about reader mode in Safari on the Mac, iPad, and iPhone. Now, if you're not familiar with reader mode, what reader mode will do is it'll strip out all of what I call the noise. So I'm going to go to my Mac here, and essentially when we're looking at a page, let's go ahead and open up Safari, and I am focusing on Safari here. I'm not going to be talking about Google Chrome. I believe they have something that's similar, Brave or anything like that. I'm just sticking with Safari. That is my primary browser. It works well for me. So that's what we're going to be looking at here. Let's close that there. And do we have any more? Okay. So reader view. Let's go over to Yahoo. We have some articles at Yahoo that we can read. And when we read these articles, depending on the website that you go to, let me share my screen so we have a better view. Share. All right. You can see that clear, correct? All right. So basically, when you read a web page, when you're reading an article, what you get is what I call a lot of noise. So let's go over to, I want to make sure I'm not clicking on an ad. This is an ad, so I always try to stay away from those. But basically, let's go over to this article here. When you click on it, we get, like I said, all of this noise here. We get the ads, we have it on the top, we have it on the right, they're in the middle of the article. And with reader mode, what we're able to do is basically strip all of that away. So to get into reader mode on the Mac, all we have to do is just go up to the browser, to the address bar in the browser, and you're going to see this little piece of paper here. This is telling me that reader mode is now available. Reader mode is not available on all websites. If I go to Yahoo's main page, you're going to see that I do not have that. There has to be kind of like, I would say, an article on the page. If I go to CNN, and we want to go to their main page. Again,
you're not showing up on the main page, just in an insert.
Yeah, just in the insert, yep. So it will not be on the main page. But when we go to an article, you're going to see I have this little piece of paper here, and when I click on it, we can see it just strips everything away. So now I'm able to read this article without all of that distracting noise. Let's go over to CNN. This works across multiple apps. So we're going to go to this one here. Again, CNN, we have a lot of noise in there. We have this little piece of paper here. I click on it, and now I'm easily able to read it here. Now, it's not perfect. This is a good example right down here. You're going to see that this picture is in here twice. All the reader view is trying to do is just kind of take all of that stuff, all of that noise out there. And it all depends on how the web page is built, if it can do that. So not all websites are going to be compatible with this, and not all articles are going to be compatible with it. If there's a video in the web page, it probably won't work. Reader view will work, but you're not going to be able to watch the video because it strips that video out. So it'll work for most everything, but it will not work for every article. So it's not a guarantee. But if you find an article that you know that there's more to it, you're not getting the complete article, there's a video on it, what you can do is just go back up to this little reader view here, click on it, and it brings you back to the regular page, and now you can go and read the rest of it. Maybe reader view didn't work. So it works for the majority of articles, just not every one. On top of that, there are a few different features for this reader view. What we're able to do is turn it on and off for individual websites, turn on automatically. You may have noticed that when I went to Yahoo, what it did is it immediately went into reader view. I quickly skipped over it. Let's go and visit that again. So now I'm going to go to an article here. So let's go with this one here. Watch what happens when I click on it. It goes immediately into reader view. So all I have to do is just read this. If I want to go back to the standard view, I just click on the icon and I'm back in the standard view with all of the noise. If I go to another article, let's go to this one here.
Dan, you're still showing your whole screen.
I am?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
You just got a little small insert of what you're doing.
Ooh, you're seeing everything there. Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Thank you. How's that?
Yep, you got it.
Okay, I shared the wrong screen. Sorry about that. So basically, here's that little, you saw it really small, but here it is to the left of the address bar. I won't go through everything again, but this little guy here will allow us to switch back and forth between the different modes. Now, I was mentioning that we can set this on for automatically for specific websites. The way that we do that is if we click on it, you click and hold, I should say, you're going to see that I have here use reader view automatically on Yahoo. So this is checked. So that means that whenever I go to a Yahoo page that is an article, it's going to go into reader view automatically. If I don't want it to do that, all I have to do is just deselect this, and what it'll do is turn that off, and now if I go to another page here or refresh this, it is not going to go into that reader view. What I have to do is go and click on it manually. Click on it to do it manually. If I want to turn it back on to automatic, all I have to do is click and hold, click on it, and now it's going to be automatic. Now, I'm going to give you a little hint here. Don't do it on my site. The reason, what really inspired me to create this little class, because I think it's really good. I use reader view on a regular basis. It's one of those things that you forget about. Somebody had a problem with my site. When they logged in or when they went to my site, they couldn't see the videos. And we're going back and forth trying to figure it out. And then finally, we just figured out that on my site, because it's all videos, when he had it go into reader mode, he had to do it automatically, so it was just hiding all the videos. So it doesn't work across all sites, and don't use it on my site. But I don't have any ads and all that, so hopefully mine is noise-free, so you don't have to use it, kind of thing. Now, there are a few other settings with this. If I click and hold, you're going to see reader website settings here. What we are able to do is go into my websites here, and I can configure all of the different websites for reader view. So right now, my websites that are going to be used in reader view are autos.yahoo.com and Wikipedia. We can see that they're both on. Yahoo is my currently open website, and we can see it's on. If I no longer wanted to have it be on, all I have to do is just select this and go to off, and now it is going to be off for that. I need to shut my music off there. YouTube is going to ding me. All right, so that is that's how we work with it on the Mac. Let's take a look at how we do this on the iPad. On the iPad, when we go to Safari, there it is. I'm going to mute everyone. So if you have a question, just unmute yourself. Let's see here. All right. So with Yahoo here, I'm going to go to this article here. And what I would like to do is go into reader view. It basically works the same way. We have our double A's at the top left of the address bar. And when I tap on it, we have show reader. And now it's in reader view. If I tap on this, we can see it's in reader view. That's why that is now black. I tap on it. I go hide reader view. I can also long press on it, and it goes into reader view. I long press on it again, and it goes out. Now, with the iPad and iPhone, we have more options. So I'm going to tap on it, and you're going to see that I can change the font as well as the background. We can't do this on the Mac. But on the iPad and iPhone, we can actually go and change what font is being used when we're in reader view. Also, you're going to see I have here the website settings, same thing as before, and I can have it select reader view automatically for Yahoo. All I have to do is just tap on this, and now it'll use reader view automatically. On the iPhone, it basically works the same way. So I'm looking at my iPhone here. I go down to Safari, and we're going to go to Yahoo here. I have a lot of noise in there. You got to scroll through all of the ads, and all the ads. But when we go down to the bottom here, we have our double A's to the left of our address bar. If I long press on it, it goes into reader view. There it is. Long press on it again, goes out. If I just tap on it, you're going to see that I have my website settings. I can also change the size. Go to website settings. I can request it automatically, and it'll go into reader view automatically on the phone. So that's basically how reader mode works on the Mac, iPad, and iPhone. Does anyone have any questions on that before I go to the next topic? You have to unmute yourself if you have questions. I see Ruth is talking. Can't hear you. You're muted, Ruth. There we go. Oh, no, that's a guest. Sorry. Ruth, you're still muted. I'm going to try to unmute you here. Ask to unmute.
Unmute.
There you are. Did you have a question?
Yeah, my question was that my view of you went to a postage stamp size, and now it's just down to less than that. How do I get you back?
I'm sharing the screen, so it's probably in another window that look at in your Zoom and see if you have more windows open on Zoom. Everyone else can see me fine, right, on a bigger screen?
Okay.
Good.
All right. I'll just continue to work with it.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. All right. Let's go on to the next topic here. The next topic that we're going to be looking at is how to save articles in the reader list in Safari on the Mac, iPad, and iPhone. With the reader list, when we are looking at different websites and we don't have time to read it, basically what we're able to do is put it into a, I'm going to call the reader list a temporary bookmark. So let's see how this works on the Mac, iPad, and iPhone. And the beauty of the reading list is if you use an iCloud, it syncs across all the different devices. So I could add an article on my Mac and then go and read it on my iPad or iPhone. Or maybe I'm looking at an article on my iPhone, it's a little too small. If I put it in the reading list, I can view it on my Mac or iPad. So let's go over to my Mac first. And like I said, basically what the reader list is a it's a bookmark for all intents and purposes. And what's different about it is when you go and add a bookmark, I'm going to go to my bookmarks here. When you go and add a bookmark here, it doesn't keep track of if you read the article. It doesn't keep, it just stores it there. It's like a permanent parking situation for that web page. And that is great if you visit Apple a lot, or maybe you visit my site a lot, things like that. Any sites that you visit a lot, that's a great place to put it in your bookmarks. But when you're reading an article, you don't necessarily want to bookmark that article, because then all of a sudden you're going to end up with, thousands of bookmarks here, and it kind of defeats the purpose of having a bookmark manager, because you're going to get so many of them, you're just not going to use your bookmarks anymore. So what you can do is you can go and add an article to a reading list. So like I said, what this is like a temporary bookmark. You'll even see that it is under bookmarks here. So if you want to add an article to your reading list, all you have to do is just select this, and I'll show you a few different ways that we can do that. I'm just going to go to the menu bar since I'm here, and I select it, and it just added it to the reading list. You might have seen a little icon fly across the screen there. Let's go and add another one. I'm just going to go back to Yahoo here, and let's go with this article here. I open it up, and I want to add it to my reading list, I can go up to bookmarks here, add to reading list, but I can also, if you're a keyboard shortcut fan, use Command-Shift-D. And the way that I generally use it, even though I love keyboard shortcuts, what I generally do is go to the share icon, and what you're going to see here is add to reading list. So you have multiple ways of adding it to the reading list. So let's go ahead and add this. We're going to add one more. So we have 3 of them in here. And let's go to this one here. Another way is you can actually use the contextual menu and add it to the reading list without actually opening up the article. This is how I use it a lot too. I hold down the Control key or right-click on your trackpad or mouse. You get your contextual menu. One of the options here is add to reading list. So what this is going to do is add this article here to my reading list. So what I'm able to do is just go through here and like in the morning or whatever, and I'm just kind of looking through. I have a little bit of time, but not a lot of time to read an article. So what you can do is you can go and, Amazon has some incredible sales this week. Let's go and check that out. Control click, add to reading list. And we'll go with, I don't want any ads, because then otherwise they'll think that so I try to be careful of not that. Let's go and take a look at this one here. Control click, add to reading list. So I can actually open up that article or add it to the reading list without opening it up. So now I've added some of these items to a reading list. How do I access that reading list? You're going to see that it is not under my bookmarks here. I have favorites and tab groups, so there's nothing in here about a reading list. Well, all you have to do is just go over to this little icon here, and this will open up Safari sidebar. And what you're going to see down at the bottom here is reading list. So now you've bookmarked or you've added a lot of items to your reading list. You are ready to go and read. You can sit on the couch, you have a little bit of time, relax, you want to read some of these articles. So now all you have to do is just go over here to reading list. And you're going to see there's my Notre Dame. Here's my Amazon is loaded with specials. Woman finds her brother something. TikTok is swooning over. So these are everything that I've added to my reading list. And now all I need to do to read them is just click on it. So let's go over to Notre Dame here. Opens up in Reader View because it's Yahoo. And I go through and read it. And watch what happens here. When I go down to the bottom and I keep swiping up, it goes to the next article. So now I'm at the Amazon. So if I go all the way down to the bottom here, a lot of specials going on. I'm at the bottom of the article. I swipe up. Now I am at the woman finds out her brother is proposing from family Amazon account. So I just kind of go through my articles one by one just by swiping up. Also, what the reading list does is it will mark them as read and unread. So now what I'm able to do, I'm looking at all of my articles here. Well, I already read Notre Dame, right? If I go to unread, watch what happens. It hides it. So now I just have my 2 articles here that I have unread. So it removes them from the reading list or hides them, however you want to go. You can always go back by going to all. You can always search. So it does still technically bookmark them. But what it does is it kind of manages them. As soon as you read it, it marks it as read. Then all you have, if you're looking at your unread reading list here, it'll just slowly go down. So let's go and add a couple more here. I'm going to go back to, we're going to keep my reading list open here. So let's go with this one here, add to reading list. We can see it adds it here. Let's go with this one, add to reading list. You can see it adds it. And we'll go with one more. And now when I go over here, I go and read it. And you're going to see that when I go back over here to unread, it removed it. It is no longer there because I read it. So reading lists can, like say they're a temporary bookmark, and they can really help you out when you just want to go and mark some articles that you want to read, and then later on you want to read them, you can easily go and read them, and then it'll mark them off of the list. Let's see how this works on the iPad and iPhone. We're first going to see how this works on the iPad. And like I said, it does sync across all the different devices. So I'm looking at my iPad here, and let's go to Yahoo, first of all. We're going to mark a couple of articles. Even though if I go into the reader list, it will have the ones from the Mac, but I want to show you how you mark them, to read it later. So I'm going to go to Yahoo here. And let's go with this one here. I can long press on it, and you're going to see Add to Reading List. I can also open it up. We go to the share icon, just like with the Mac. Add to reading list. So now I have those two added to my reading list. If we go to my Mac, you're going to see that I have those articles in there. So it is syncing. So now what I'd like to do is read these on my iPad, just like I did on the Mac. Or maybe I bookmarked or put something in the reading list on my Mac and I want to read it on the iPad. How do I get to that reading list? The actual articles. What you do is you go up to the sidebar, just like on the Mac, and what you're going to see down towards the bottom is Reading List. Select it, and up towards the top we have all of my different articles here. Right now it is showing me all of them. Actually, I'm sorry, this is a little misleading. Hopefully what they'll do is they'll change it, and I'm hoping that they make it more like the Mac with the tab at the top. Right now I'm looking at my unread articles. So if I want to see all of them, I tap on Show All, and now I can see all of my articles that I've ever added. If I want to see the ones that are unread, I go Show Unread, and now I can see all of the ones that are unread. Again, just like the Mac, I can tap on it, I swipe up. When I get to the bottom, you're going to see Up Next. Swipe up, and I can go through those articles just like I can on the Mac. How does it work on the iPhone? It works basically the same way, but of course the controls are in a different position because it's a smaller device. So if I wanted to, let's go back over to Yahoo here. I need a little longer cable there. All right, and come on. Let's get out of Reader View. Going to go to Yahoo, and let's go and read this one here. Tap and hold. You're going to see that I have Add to Reading List. So I don't even have to open up the article again. Or if I do want to open up the article, what I can do is go to Share, and then you're going to see Add to Reading List, and then put those in the reading list. So basically works the same way. Now I want to read my reading list. How do I do that? Well, we don't have a sidebar on the iPhone, but what we do have is bookmarks. So you're going to see that I have this little book here underneath my cursor, and when I tap on it, we have 3 tabs. The first one is our bookmarks. So if you're there, you're just going to see all of your bookmarks. If we go over to the end here, this is our history. This is where I'm going to see all of my history. The one that we're looking for is in the middle with the eyeglasses. Reading list. So now I can see all of the different articles. Just like with the iPad, I have Show All. So right now I'm looking at all of my unread articles because this says Show All. If I want to show all, you're going to see that it says Show Unread. So it's kind of telling you what you want to do, or tap on it to show the unread. So now I can tap on this. It opens up. I swipe up. And when I swipe up, it goes to the next article. And now it goes to the next article. And when I go back over to my books, we can see it's going through. I only have 2 of them because I read them. And when I go over to my Mac, what we have here is all, and I go to unread. Eventually that will just show the 2 that I have on the phone. Sometimes the syncing is a little bit slow there, but eventually it will show me just the 2 because it's keeping in sync with all of them. So that's how the reading list works and how you can use it basically to mark articles that you want to read later and read them in Safari. And you can read them across all your different devices. Does anyone have any questions on the reading list? And you can use it in a combination with the reader view. As you saw when I first opened up Yahoo, they would automatically go into the reader view, even though I was in the reader list.
So when you're done reading them, how do you get rid of them?
Well, if so, they're going to be in all. So let's just go over to my Mac, and if you want to get rid of them, what you can do is just swipe to the left and remove it. It's just another bookmark. If we go over to the iPad, I swipe. Or what I can do is go and edit down towards the bottom. You're going to see edit here, and I'm able to go and mark the ones I want to delete. But you have to do this manually. And on the iPhone, as you probably can guess, swipe. And again, we also do have edit down at the bottom. But it will not get rid of them automatically. Any other questions? All right. Let's take a look at private browsing. Now, the reason why I threw this in here, actually Steve suggested it, and I thought, yeah, that's a good one. This is a little trick. I'm not going to be talking about why private browsing, private browsing, the whole idea behind private browsing is kind of like incognito in Chrome. What you can do is you can prevent websites from tracking you. It'll try to block certain information that you have from going to Google or whoever it may be. Basically private browsing masks your information. And that's all good. And they try, and it does a really good job with that. The problem when you try to keep your browser in private mode all the time, it doesn't remember anything. So if you wanted to go back to a page that you were at before, you can't do that because it doesn't keep a history. So private browsing is good, and I use it on a regular basis. One way that I use it is if I'm logged into my site as me. So I go to Dan's Tutorials here, and, oops, you're not looking at, okay. So I go to Dan's Tutorials here, and I'm logged in, but I would like to see what this looks like if I'm not logged in. What I do is I open up a new private window, and I go to Dan's Tutorials, and now I'm not logged in. You're going to see I have to sign up. It's a completely different browser. Also, I'm not going to be able to get as much information. I'm not going to be able to track you. Not that I do a lot of tracking, but all that kind of stuff is gone from the private browsing. When you go into private mode, the URL does change to a darker background. So we can see that this is in private mode where this one is not. Now, the reason why I brought private mode on here, it's a little bit of a trick, and I'm sure websites don't particularly care for it. You can even do it on my site. I'll be the first to admit, you've all seen it where you go to a website, typically it's newspapers, and like in my case, what you can do is you can go and view different, you don't have to log in to view some of my videos. You don't have to log in to view most of my videos. But after 3 pages that you visit, it locks you out. So I'm in a, let's go and log out here. I'll demonstrate on my site how this works. And then I'll show you where private mode comes in, and you can get around this a little bit. This is why websites don't particularly care for it. So this is a little trick. So if I go to this video here, I can see it. So it's like a free preview kind of thing. Same thing with the newspapers. You get they're trying to entice you to subscribe. Okay, let's go and take a look at this video. And okay, this looks pretty good. Now let's go and take a look at this video. Okay. And basically what you're able to do is just kind of browse a website, right? But eventually what you get after so many, and this is up to the website, boom, there it is. You can't browse any more pages on my site. So if I go and try to browse this one, it's not going to allow you to do that. So this is where we've seen that with newspapers and things like that. Your 5 free previews are done. You can't view anymore. So how can you get around that? Private window. So when you open up a new private window, for the most part, it depends on how the website is tracking. I use simple stuff, so it's easy for you to get around my site. But basically, all you have to do is just open up a new private window. So I'm just going to go up to File here. And you're going to see Private Window. Again, if you're using Chrome, this is incognito. And now I go to my site. As far as my site is concerned, this is a completely different browser. And if I want to go and view this article, there it is. I can sit here and go view all these. And eventually, I'll hit that roadblock again. So I try to make it, and this is what websites try to do is make it annoying enough here, entice us, but, put a lot of work into this. We need to make a living as well. So, 5 times, if you want to get around it again, you can open up a new private window and do it again. So it's just a little bit of an inconvenience, but that's how you can get around it for the most part. Doesn't work on all sites, but it does work on a lot of them. And that's a way that you can get around some of those things. Let's see how this works on the iPad.
Is this technique you recommended, Dan, on viewing the Wall Street Journal Joanna Stern clip on privacy? I put the link in the direct chat to you. Okay.
So let's go to that. So Wall Street, that chat is on a different computer, Steve, so I can't... I should have you send it to my Johnny Appleseed.
Send it there too.
Passcodes to take over. Wall Street passcodes to take over. So this is what
Just
Steve.
Put it in message.
Okay, let's see here. Didn't come yet, but I'll find it. Why am I using DuckDuckGo? I like DuckDuckGo, but not as good as Google, I'll admit. All right. Oh, yeah. Okay, so here we are, Wall Street Journal. This is what Steve sent over. And you're going to see that in order to read this article, I need to sign up. So we're going to try this with private windows to see if I can get by this. So in order to open up a new private window on the iPad, what I do is I long press on the 2 squares in the upper right-hand corner, and you're going to see New Private Tab. And now, let's go and I should have copied that. So let's go to my tabs here. Let's go back to my 7 tabs. And what I need to do, oops, wrong one. I'm going to copy this. So
I used to drink about
locked.
7 tabs a day.
And now I'm going to go to New Private Tab. I'm going to paste it in here. And we'll see. Nope, still on. So they're getting pretty smart. And that's Wall Street Journal knows. It must track it by IP number or something along that line.
Gotcha.
So it doesn't work. This is a good example, though, because it shows that it doesn't work on every site. And, they're getting smarter with that, these websites. As of a couple years ago or even a year ago, this worked pretty much on everything. But they're getting crafty. And, again, like I said, they don't necessarily like it because you're skirting around their system. So it doesn't work. But if you want to try, this is a good thing to try. If you want to read an article and you can't, basically all you have to do is just go and open up a new private window. I can't guarantee that it'll work on the iPhone.
Can you try something, Dan?
Yeah.
Back to that site, back to where you were, Wall Street.
Yep.
You're not back there yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Click on the AA at the Yes. And now you can read it really often. You can.
Yeah, and those are great suggestion. Those are things that you can try. Another thing you can do, what I found out is, so you get the article, because other websites, Yahoo does this actually, will go and scrape this information. So what you can do is you can go and search. So just search for that title. I'm going to use Google, not DuckDuckGo. And you're going to see, here it is on Barron's, probably not. Wall Street Journal might have, I'm sorry, Mac Rumors might have more information. So you might be able to get the gist of it. Here it is, Yahoo. Continue reading. Oh, nope, it takes you over there. So there, but search for the title of the article, and what you might find is that other websites, they're not supposed to do it, but what they might do is they might scrape it. Or what Wall Street Journal is probably not a great example, but a lot of newspapers out there will syndicate their information. Or what they are getting, like in our case here, Holland Sentinel is owned by USA Today, which a lot of newspapers are. So even though it's behind the paywall on Holland Sentinel, it might not be on USA Today. So if you search for the article, you might find it on other newspapers because it's all syndicated. So just find that title of the article, and then you can do a search for it and see if it's on another website. So that's another way you can get around that.
Not sure if you touched on it, but in recognizing where you can access reader mode.
Yeah, so that was at the beginning. That was the first thing I covered.
Good. And then did you say on other devices too, that once the URL fully loads, that may change that to a small page with lines on it instead of seeing the double letters?
Oh, these here? Yeah.
Yeah, that will change it to a page with lines on it. But it's the same thing, accessing the reader.
Yep. So, and I think they've changed how that works. Again, I don't know if I mentioned this. I should have. I am using macOS Ventura, iPadOS 16, and iOS 16. So all of these features have been around forever, but obviously Apple kind of changes how you access them and turn them on and off on I dare say a regular basis, it seems. So yeah. All right, let's see what my next topic is. The next topic is printing a PDF to save a full web page. So in some cases, what you may want to do is save an article as a PDF. How can you do that? You may know that you can do it with a screenshot on the iPad and iPhone, and I'll show you how you do that. But we can't do that on the Mac. We can't use that same technique. What we have to do is use an old-fashioned technique, print as a PDF. This has been around ever since macOS 10, I should say, has been around. So I'm going to go to Safari here, and we're going to go to this article here. And what I would like to do is save this as a PDF. Well, if I take a screenshot of this, what it's going to do is just take a screenshot. I can't get this whole article. If I go and share this, it's not going to, it's going to share the link, but I want to create a PDF out of this. So what do? Well, basically what you need to do is you need to print it on a Mac. So I'm going to go to print, and you're going to see that the preview there has the article. Now, I'm going to go back into Reader View because I want to print the Reader View. Click on it, print, and now you're going to see it prints the Reader View of it. Now, you may notice that when I look at this preview here, things are missing. Why is that? Well, that's where images are. And the way that websites work, it depends on the developer. What they use is what's called lazy load. So images, what we can do as web developers is decide when an image is going to load. And in a lot of cases, what you'll do is you will only load that image when it comes across the screen. This is called lazy load. And why would you want to do that as a developer? Because you don't want to load all those images up at the same time. You know, we want to keep our websites fast. And if you're just looking at this much, if you're just looking at this much of the website, there's no reason to load these images down here until you scroll up, and then the images will load at that time. So that's what's called lazy load. Well, when you go to this here, these web pages, I only looked at, you know, these two here. So these might be lazy load. That's one reason why there's a blank spot there, and you really can't do anything about it. Another reason could be that they are background images, and this again is up to the developer. So what they can do is not have the image inline on the web page. They can have it as a background image, and in some cases you won't be able to see that. You're going to see that you do have an option here to print backgrounds. There's a good example right there. So this image disappeared. I go and click on print backgrounds. There it is. And there's the other ones as well. So these images are set up as backgrounds. So what you may need to do to get all of the images when you're in Safari and you print it is just uncheck that and check it, and now it's going to print everything. So now we have it previewed. We can see everything. It's in reader mode. I got a nice clean copy. I want to save this as a PDF. Well, instead of going to print, what we do is we go to PDF here, and when we click on the caret, we can save this as a PDF. And all this is going to do is just allow me to name it. I'm going to put it on my desktop. And lo and behold, I have my preview here, and there are the images. So that's how we do that on the Mac. It's actually a little bit easier on the iPad and iPhone. Let's go over to my iPad. And what we're going to do is let's go home here. Which article was that? Sunreef? I'm not going to be able to find it, but let's go with this one here. So I have this article here, and I go into Reader View. Now what I'd like to do is save this as a PDF. How do I do that? I take a screenshot. So on this case here, this is an iPad with Face ID, so I use a sleep-wake button and the volume up button. If you have one with a home button, it's a sleep-wake button and the home button. Either way, take a screenshot. You're going to see it goes down into the corner. And when I tap on it, it opens up, and I have my screenshot here. But being that I did this in Safari, this only works in Safari. So if you're using Chrome as a browser and on the iPad and iPhone, this isn't going to work. This is a Safari trick. You're going to see up at the top we have full page. Tap on that, and you're going to see that I have the whole page here. This is a PDF now, and when I go and tap on Done, I can save this PDF to my files, just like I can on the Mac. Let's go ahead and save it. I'm going to put it on my desktop. We go and name it. We'll just keep it at reading list. And now that is on my desktop, which means when we go over to my Mac here, we can see we have that article, and there it is. Now it's small right now because I just have it in Quick View, but if I open this up in Preview, there's the whole article. And it's in reader mode, so it stripped all the noise out of it. So all we have to do is just take a screenshot and then just tap on full page. Works the same way on the iPhone. So I am in this article here, and what I would like to do is take a screenshot. This is one with Face ID, so it's a sleep-wake button. Basically, you just squeeze it. That's how we have so many accidental screenshots. There it is in the lower left-hand corner. Tap on it, and towards the top, we have full page, and there is my full page. Just like with the iPad, I tap on Done. I can save it, or if I want to share this, maybe I'd like to send this to Steve or something like that. What I can do is go over to the share here, and I'm able to send it to Steve or whoever, and then he'll get this full web page, browser, PDF, whatever you want to call it, kind of thing. So,
woohoo!
It's a good one. Does anyone have any questions on that? Like I said, on the Mac, it's more old school, but it works really well if you put it into reader view. Just make sure you click on that background, show background to toggle it, turn it on, turn it back off. But on the iPad and iPhone, it's really easy. Screenshot and full page. Only works in Safari, though. All right. Actually, I think I jumped ahead there. There we are, taking a screenshot. Reverse, beep, beep, beep. We know how to do that. Okay. Actually, that is what I have. Does anyone have any questions on anything with this?
Dan, I have a different question.
Yeah.
I've got a 10-year-old MacBook Pro. I've been waiting for the perfect new device to come out this year. I'm curious, does my support stop it and just not getting security updates? Or do I still get security updates? Can I still use my device, or do I have to throw it away?
You will, so how old is it?
2013.
I believe they will still give security updates on those. Do you know, Steve, what their limit is? It 10 years?
I'm in MacBook Big Sur.
Yeah, I don't. That's a good.
It varies from like 8 to 10 years.
Yeah.
But
And
do they stop supporting me for new ideas or security as well?
No, just they will stop any major updates. Like let's just pick on Big Sur, Mac OS Big Sur. They will stop any. You will not get any major new features with that. But they will keep going with security updates. You know, until, like we said, I think it's like 8 or 10 years. They keep going with that. So.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
it's just a comment that oftentimes I go to it. I love reader mode because of its foremost feature of just getting rid of all the ads and distractions and junk, so you can just read the article. And when I'm in reader mode, I can also email it to somebody, and that content will be in the email.
Oh, it will. I did not realize that. So
yeah, without the ads.
Without any ads.
Wow. Okay. So if I go over here to the share, and if I were to share that with you, you would get this without all that noise, then, huh?
Correct.
Wow.
I don't think I
Thank
can.
you.
I don't think I can do it on the New York Times, though.
Yeah, and see, the bigger newspapers are getting pretty smart with that. So it's hit and miss with those bigger ones, you know. And I have a feeling it's just going to get worse down the road. But right now, you can still kind of use a lot of those tricks for that. So,
And those more tech savvy, justifiably so, media outlets that say, well, you know, we have to make a living and we need to have a paywall and we can't give away everything free. Some of those will also disable reader mode so that you don't even have it available.
right. It's up to the developer. Yep.
Yeah.
And I will say, you know, of course, you know, because I'm on that other end of it, you know, my site, you know, I showed you how you can get around it. You know, use private mode. You can browse all 1,800 of my videos if you wanted to. You just have to open up a few different private windows, you know. But if you like what you see, this always goes with, and the price is right, of course. You know, then I'd say pay them, and especially newspapers. Newspapers are struggling. If you like your newspaper, you know, it's a good thing to subscribe because they lost a lot of money in advertising because everybody went online and all that, and they are cutting journalists. Not to get on my soapbox, but if you know, and I say this with me too, if you like what I have, and I appreciate everyone that does support, you know, it helps me keep doing what I want to do. So, you know, it all does help. So, and they're on that same boat for the most part, you know. Obviously, some of them are bigger corporations, and you got to, you know, be a little careful with that. But, you know, our newspaper here, Holland Sentinel, is owned by USA Today. But I'm telling you, they've in the last year, they've really they've I think they kind of went down, and now they're back on an upswing. They're really, local news. They're really trying to, put their feet on the ground around here, and we're just getting local news, which is really kind of nice. So, and I'm a happy subscriber to the Holland Sentinel.
We are also.
And that is the one thing about the Apple One. Is it Apple One or Plus?
Plus,
Apple
yep.
Plus, that it has like the Wall Street Journal and other.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I didn't
pieces
even
of
thank
news
you.
in there. Yeah.
Thank you. So if you are an Apple One user, you don't have to. So I'm an Apple One user as well, or subscriber. So when I go to the news app here, you actually have access. Now, this is outside of Safari, but you actually do have access to, these different newspapers. LA Times, which has a lot of national news, the Wall Street Journal. So what you can do is you can search for, so let's go and search for that article here. What was that? Let's go Wall Street Journal pass code. Here it is, Wall Street Journal. And it's not letting me read it. Wall Street Journal is part of the...
I believe
No
so.
longer,
Is
I
that-
think.
Oh, it's
think
not
they
any
dropped the
longer?
Times.
Okay. So Wall
they
Street
dropped the
Journal, all
Times.
right. But there are a lot of newspapers that are part of it, so it's still a good suggestion. Thanks, Deborah. The news app does have a lot of newspapers, and ours is too small. It doesn't have the Holland Sentinel, but it may have your local newspaper if you're if you live in LA, obviously the LA Times, you're going to get that. So you don't have to subscribe outside of it.
We agree with you about subscribing, but when you're looking for something like the Seattle Times and you live in New York City, you only want one article in your
Yes.
lifetime. It's kind of
Yeah.
hard to
Yeah.
pony up to $100.
Right. Yep. That is
Yes, I'm
exactly.
following.
So yeah, if you go to that newspaper a lot, then absolutely, support them. If you just need one or two articles, I'll be the first to admit I'm not going to go and pay them for just one or two articles or something. I'll go and try and find it somewhere else. Maybe somebody else, like I said, go and search for that title somewhere else, and you might be able to find it.
Or read it 2 days later.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to start wrapping this up. Let me get the ending credits and all that kind of stuff, and then we can do our chit chat. So my next event is going to be an Ask Me Anything, and I do have the link on the. You should be able to subscribe or ticket it or register for it, and you're going to get the Zoom link. I apologize. I did not create the Zoom link. I never followed through. I just never hit continue when I went to the website. So, but it goes along with the line. Some of you heard me say this at the beginning. If you always go to my website for the latest updates, I discovered that I didn't do that, and I immediately put, as all of you know, because you found it, I immediately put the Zoom link on my website so you could join. So going to my website is always the best thing to do. If something you can't find the link to the Zoom link or whatever it may be. So anyway, next week is going to be an AMA, and then after that, I believe I'm going to have a class on ChatGPT, and as I mentioned earlier, it kind of has